Greetings and welcome to Elect Connect, a candidate forum brought to you by the Greater Bloomington Chamber of Commerce. I'm Mary Morgan, the Chamber's Director of Advocacy and Public Policy, and we'll be talking with Jeff Ellington, a Republican who's running for the Indiana House of Representatives in District 62. But first, I'd like to give a shout out to our Elect Connect sponsors. Without their support, our work would not be possible. Those sponsors include Comcast Business, Bunger and Robertson, the City of Bloomington, German American Bank, Hoosier Energy, Indiana University.
We'll be live. They're going to see right through here.
And Smithville. And now I'd like to introduce Jeff Ellington. Jeff, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mary, and thank the Chamber for doing this activity. It really lets people get informed.
Sure. Well, let's start. If you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running for re-election.
Well, it all started out many years ago when I was a resident of the City of Bloomington. I started going door to door for some friends of mine who were actually back then Democrats. I really didn't know what they were. I just knew they were close friends of mine. So that sort of led me into getting asked to run for county council back in the early 90s. And I did two terms at the county council. Also was over the Plan Commission here in Monroe County. I was president for 2 years. I also served on the board of directors for Center for Behavioral Health back then, which, a lot of people use mental services, and I learned a lot on that board. But the instinct or the drive, you might say, for me to run for office, especially try to get into the State House, is to really, so citizens can have a voice. We've heard, especially from Bloomington here in the last several years, that some people just don't know how to listen or don't want to listen to their constituents. So independents, Democrats, and Republicans alike have came to me and others in the State House to say, we need some help. We need this legislation changed. And for example, what motivates me currently is to make sure that county residents have a voice in any tax increase or any annexation process. And so in 2016, I was able to put in the state budget a pause for Bloomington's aggressive annexation plan. And since then, I've been able to work with Democrats and Republicans alike to help protect county residents from annexation through protecting fire districts, from also making waivers that developers sign for water and sewer only lasts 15 years. And so that's just two more things I've been able to do in the last session to help protect those residents. So it's all really about, having a voice. And that's what motivates me to stay here and to seek re-election. Jobs, infrastructure, education. I bring a lot of those interests and experiences to the table. And I think, every citizen should do their part to give back. And this is my small part. And I'm really grateful the citizens has given me this opportunity.
Well, thanks for that. And this is a related question, I guess. As you know, our community's been considering an increase in the local income tax, which was recently rejected by the Bloomington City Council. What changes to state law would you support that are related to the local income tax process?
Well, I've always had an issue with the effect of legislation from an elected official or a body that would affect those who had no avenue to either vote for or against those decision makers. So for me, being a county resident currently, I want to make sure that the citizens have the opportunity to vote in favor of a policy or administration with the policy they agree or they don't agree with. So we was able to change slightly that legislation last session, which instead of automatically giving a city or a town with a great population, just say a majority vote, which they would get all the block votes in the past. We changed that to go to a percentage now. And so it would take this administration, I think 8 out of the 9 to pass a new tax, which would be a citywide and a countywide tax. And I think in the future, One of the reasons we were not able to make major changes this last session was because the last few years, budget cycles coming up in 21, they were looking at opportunities to make widespread changes on the way entities develop or increase or change tax revenue potential, and they didn't want to upset the cart, because in the next session we think that those would be changed dramatically. And I'm hoping that one tax like that would be divided out upon the representation of a mayor or county commissioners, etc. And I've had both Republican and Democrat county council and county commissioners reach out to me and express, their interest on having a larger voice in that process. So for me, it's not about politics. It's really about, what's best for that taxpayer or that citizen and the services they either want or don't want. And so in the future, we'll see some changes. I don't know. I think it's going to be drastic, because there's a whole lot of things of bonding capabilities, infrastructure improvements, where those bonds will come from in dollars, COIT, Cadget, Edit, etc. There's a whole list that's going to be looked at.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. As a reminder to those of you who are watching, we've been talking with Jeff Ellington. He's a Republican who's running for the Indiana House of Representatives in District 62. One final shout out to our Elect Connect sponsors: Comcast Business, Bunger and Robertson, the City of Bloomington, German American Bank, Hoosier Energy, Indiana University, and Smithville. And finally, a reminder to vote on November 3rd, or take advantage of early voting if you can, which starts October 6th. If you're looking for more information about the upcoming election or candidates in our area, there are two online resources: the Monroe County Election Central at monroecountyvoters.us, and the Chamber's nonpartisan election site, chamberbloomington.org/2020-general-election. Thanks so much for joining us.